Hi guys. I kind of miss you guys a lot. Not really, but yeah, kind of. I'm actually pretty happy at the quarantine right now, kind of. But anyways, today we're gonna talk about the excretory system. Yeah, and before we talk about the excretory system, we have to know what excretion is. So excretion is the process of separating waste from the body fluids, like from body fluids, then eliminating the waste from the body. So let's talk about the functions of the excretory system. Before we do that, we talk about the like what urine really is. So in the kidneys, the filtrate of the nephron upon leaving the collecting duct exits the body through like the urethra. Yeah, and there's four things. There's what that the body actually like the excretory system actually does, and they are this. So there's excrete metabolic waste, like notably like nitrogen waste, like ammonia, urethra, and uric acid. There's like the maintenance of like water salt balance. Also the maintenance of like acid base balance, and the secretion of hormones. So, for the first one, the excrete metabolic waste. So we know that ammonia is very toxic, but it is converted to the liver, so it's less toxic compound area. Urea makes up the majority of the nitrogenous wastes, and sorry, and the body, half of it is eliminated in urine. Uric acid is present in much lower concentrations and is contained in urine. Yeah, but now the second one, maintenance. I can't say that word properly right now, but I'm gonna say maintenance because I'm tired. So maintenance of water salt balance. Blood volume is tied very very closely to salt balance. So by regulating salts in the in the blood, the kidneys are also involved in regulating blood pressure. Kidneys help to maintain the levels of potassium. I think it's bicarbonate. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, bicarbonate and calcium in the blood. And the last one, which is no, not the last one. My bad. The third one, the maintenance of the acid base balance. And the kidneys monitor and help the blood pH. They keep the blood pH at like 7.5, 7.35 through the amount like before. Mainly excreting the hydrogen ions and reabsorbing the bicarbonate. I think it's bicarbonate. I might be wrong, but I think it's bicarbonate. Anyway, the HCO3 minus. And human urine usually has a pH of 6, and I even was talking to my mom like last night, and we were talking about how you can find out from like people's blood or people's urine, like if they're gonna die or not. Like if your blood is too acidic, then you can die like very very soon. So same thing with your blood. Yeah, but it's 6 because we eat like acidic foods. Yeah. The last one is secretion of hormones. So it secretes both this hormone called calcitrol, and I do not know how to say this name, but erythro erythropoietin. Er, the E zone, the hormone. I'm so tired, but yeah. Calitrol is an active form of vitamin D, and it promotes like calcium. And the E one, like the E hormone. I have to learn to say it, but The hormone stimulates the production of the red blood cells, or the RBC. Can't remember that from last time. Um, is released in response to increased oxygen or reduced oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. And it actually another thing is that renin, a substance, leads to the hormone aldosterone, like what we learned about in chapter 9 from the adrenal core. So yeah. Now we can move on to the organs, right? So in the excretory system, it consists of kidneys, the ureters, the bladder, the urinary bladder, and their urethra. Okay, so the kidneys, they're very very important, but actually my grandfather is going to something with his kidneys, and like when I was reading this book, it really it really helped me see what he's doing, like what he's going through. Yeah. Um, so there's two of them, and they're kind of like fist sized. They're located at like your lower back on each side of the spine. So they're on this side, and they're on this side. Yeah, and they're like they have like a large cushion of fat to like usually protect them because they are vital organs. And that fat offers a protection. Most people have two, but we can live off of one. Um, my grandfather's living off of one. Yeah, I think he had something that he had to take out the other kidney because it was like diseased. So yeah, and yeah, like the what happens if you take out one kidney, the other one just like increases in size and matches like the workload. Yeah. So that it moves on to the ureter. Now the ureter is 8 centimeters long. It's a very long tube, and it's very muscular actually, and in which the kidney releases that urine, right? And so it gets pushed to the urinary bladder. And so what happens in your bladder is urine is moved by this kind of like, remember when we have like talk about the digestive system and we talk about like how the food moves down the esophagus and like peristalsis happens. It's kind of the same thing, like peristaltic action of the smooth muscle tissue to the very muscular urinary bladder. Also, hold on, drainage is controlled by the two rings of muscles called the sphincters. They must relax before urine can actually drain from the bladder, though. Innermost sphincters is controlled voluntarily by the brain. As kids, we learn to I can't say that word right now. Voluntary control. Okay, I messed up. When we're young, we learn to voluntary to control the other voluntary part of the other sphincter. Yeah. So the last part is the urethra. It's a tube. Still, in men, in us the urethra is approximately 20 centimeters long, and emerges with in the ductus deferens of the reproductive tract. But in females, the urethra is 4 centimeters long, and the reproductive and the urinary has separate openings. Yeah. So, if you want to put it in simpler terms, 1. Kidney produces urine. 2. The ureters transport the urine. 3. The urinary bladder stores the urine. And 4. Urethra passes urine to the outside. So, what we're gonna talk about today, the main thing we're gonna talk about today, with the organ, is the kidneys. I kind of like the kidneys. They're cool, you know. The kidneys are actually bean-shaped, reddish brown in color, and the concave side of each side, the kidney has a depression where the renal artery and the renal vein enters and exits the kidney. It's kind of like in the heart, where the one the artery brings blood to the heart, and the vein takes away blood from the heart, like the tube. It's kind of the same thing with the kidney. I learned that when I was reading the book. And there are many branches of the renal artery and the renal vein. The kidney actually has 3 regions. So, there's the renal cortex, the renal medulla, well, they're actually all renal. So, the cortex, medulla, and the pelvis. So, the renal cortex is the outer layer. And it dips down into the renal medulla. And the renal medulla is the inner layer. It contains like cone-shaped tissue masses. Yeah, and the renal pelvis. And that is the central space cavity continuous with the ureter. Okay, so yeah, embedded within the renal cortex, extended to the renal medulla, there are more than 1 million microscopic structures called nephrons. And those nephrons are very, very important because these are responsible for like filtering various substances from the blood and turning it into urine. They're closely associated with the nephron. Closely associated with the nephrons is a network of blood vessels, and the nephrons do this by they filter stuff by organizing themselves into 3 parts. So there's the filter, the tubule, and the duct. And we're back. So as you remember from the last video, it was like 2 seconds ago, the filter. No, there's 3 parts to the nephrons. And let's see if you can do it in like 3 seconds. Ready? There's 3 parts. Ready? What's the first part? Second part? Third part? Collecting. Yes, good job. So there's the filter, the tubule, and the collecting duct, or the duct. You can say whatever. I don't really care. Right? So the filter is the filtration structure at the top of each neuron, and it's like a cap-like formation called the Bowman's capsule. And in each capsule, the renal artery enters and splits into a fine network of capillaries called a glomerulus. And in Latin, that means little ball. Anyway, so the walls of the glomerulus act as a filtration device. Kind of like a strainer. When you're like, you don't want the seeds in your lemonade, so you're putting the lemon in, you're just squeezing it through the strainer so you don't get all the pulp in the with seeds through your lemonade. That's what I think about as, cause pulse is disgusting, right? Anyway, yeah, and they're impermeable to proteins, other large molecules, and red blood cells, so they remain in the blood. But water, small molecules, ions, and urea, they're the main waste products. So they are permeable and they actually go through to the blood, right? Yeah, the filtered fluid that proceeds from the glomerulus into that Bowman's capsule of the nephron is referred to as the filter. So, the other part of the nephron is the tubule. So the Bowman's capsule is connected to a small, long, and narrow tubule and is twisted back on itself to make a loop. That long hairpin loop is a reabsorption device. Yeah, the tubule actually has 3 sections: the proximal tubule, the loop of Henle, and the distal tubule. So the tubule actually absorbs substances that are useful to the body. like glucose and many other ions from the filtrate via passing it through the blood. Yeah. The tubule secretes substances into the tissue by surrounding it. The last part of the nephrons, of the kidneys. My bad if I ever said nephrons. No, wait, this is a part of the nephrons. Yeah, I just forgot that because it's like 11 o'clock. Anyway, yeah. So the tubules empty the urine into a large pipe channel called a collecting duct. Functions kind of like a water conservation device, and it reclaims water from the filtration from the filtrate, passing through it, so that almost no water is lost. The filtration that remains suspended is a suspension of water and various solutes and particles. That liquid, or the fluid, that is what we call urine. And the composition is distinctly different from the fluid that first enters the Bowman's capsule. And lastly, the solutes and water are reclaimed during reabsorption and returned to the body via the renal vein. Well, that was my presentation on the excretory system. And, yeah. Anyway, see you guys next year. See you guys soon. Probably next year. Grade 12. It was nice knowing you guys. And, yeah. Well, bye, guys.